there's been a steady stream of people come, drop off flowers, many of them very emotionally upset, as you might imagine, just sort of overwhelmed by the scope of this tragedy here in London. You can see across the street there Mayor Ed Holder, who you just heard from there, speaking to people. And people are just, as the dinner hour goes on, coming and showing their support for the victims of this terrible tragedy here in London.
And Andrew, I mean, I'm so struck by looking at that scene. It was 22 and a half hours ago, as I speak to you right now, a family standing at that street corner, waiting for the light to turn green, and this pickup truck came at full speed, mounting the curb, striking them. We've seen the effects of it, where those flowers are, a bent over sign, struck by the impact of what happened. The suspect arrested later on. But before we talk about him, I want to talk about this family, about who was killed, who was left injured in the hospital. Perhaps you can take us through that.
Certainly. So 3 generations of this family, four of the 5 that were struck died. A woman in her 70s, a man and a woman in their 40s, a teenager, a 15-year-old, and a 9-year-old. He survived. He's in hospital in serious but stable condition. Police said today that they expect that he will survive. But the family has asked for privacy, and although there's information coming out about them on social media, we have respected that request for privacy. So at this point, we haven't identified the members of this family that have suffered this terrible tragedy. But the response from the Muslim community has been very strong today. Nawaz Tayyir, who is a lawyer in town, and he's a leader in the Muslim community here. He spoke at the news conference at 3 p.m. and he said it's important to point out that these people were killed because of their faith, because they were Muslim. And he said, we will stand strong.
That's so bad.
Hate. He also called on governments to do
আমরা
more
কোথাও
to
সেফ
stop
না
attacks like this from happening. He cited a long
because
list
আমরা
of recent
Muslim.
ones, including the 2017 shooting in Quebec City
That's
that
really
killed 5
bad.
people.
This is
and
in
just said this is
Canada.
happening too much, and this is something that we need to pay attention to.
And Andrew, as police, fire, and ambulance
so
were
upset for
racing to
that.
that scene, the scene where one of the 4 victims was pronounced deceased, the other 3 taken to hospital in frantic efforts, ultimately unsuccessful to save their lives. We also know that as that was transpiring, police were at high speeds chasing this 20-year-old suspect who is now in custody, has been charged, made a first appearance in court. What can you tell us about him?